I greet you in Jesus' precious name. I want to speak to you about something quite important. But before I even give you the title, I want to read the scripture. The scripture is found in Matthew chapter 25, and I'm reading verses 24 through to verse 26. It's about the talent. Then he who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew that you are a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground, and look, there you have what is yours. But the Lord answered, and he said to him, You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money in the bank, and then at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. And so take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. You know, when I read that, I thought, Lord, that's a bit heavy. The guy that's double the money, you even give him the money from the guy that only had the 1 talent. That's how God works. If you work hard, God will honor you. If you are lazy, you can't be bothered, God will take even that which you have and He'll give it to those who have worked hard. A man wrote, and I read it. He says, great things we cannot do because they're too big. Small things we will not to do. We don't want to do. And we end up doing nothing at all. Be careful of that. I know it's all the Lord. The Lord does great things. I know that. But the Lord also helps us to do little things. And most men that I've read about, men and women who have done great things for the Lord, started off doing little things and being faithful in little things. Like William Carey, who was a cobbler. He wasn't even a shoemaker. He only repaired shoes. And he went to India and he started small. And he ended up being the chief interpreter in the high courts of Delhi for the British government, apart from starting and translating many, many languages like Sanskrit, Hindustani, Tamil into English so that people could read the Bible in their own language or the other way around. Don't be afraid to start small, but you do need to start. So remember, when you stand before the Lord one day, it's not a case of saying, well, Lord, I didn't have any talent. No. Folks, we've all got talent. I remember Ben Carson, that Afro-American neurosurgeon, who's also a strong Christian, said, we have all been given the same size brain. It's whether we use it or whether we don't use it. Let's start getting serious for God, and let's start using what God has given us for His glory, and He will multiply it. Just like those men with the talents. The one who was given the most talents, he doubled his talents. God has saved us by grace, not by good works. But when you realize what God has given you, you can't keep it to yourself. So use what you can. You might be somebody that, when I think of George Matheson, he was a blind preacher. He was loved so much by the people, they sent him to a country church, not in the big city of Edinburgh, because he was blind. But multitudes of people followed him because he used what he had. He was an anointed speaker. When he died, they filled his grave with red roses. They loved him so much. Use what you've got for the Lord and He will multiply it. Jesus bless you and goodbye.